Who's the stupidest person you've ever met, and what story perfectly sums up their stupidity? An old coworker named James. We worked at McDonald's and were both 16. One time, while mopping the lobby, he for some unknown reason decided to chase a number of customers around with the mop yelling, "I'm gonna get ye." He was fired on the spot. My brother and I were in the kitchen one day as teenagers. My brother was filling the sink to wash dishes. When the sink was nearly full, he went to turn the tap off, but it wouldn't budge, so the water kept flowing. I tried turning it too, but with no success. This is when the panic set in. The level of the water was rising fast, and we didn't want to flood the kitchen. He took big saucepans out of the press to fill with water to keep things from overflowing, while I was in a frantic scramble under the sink, trying to find the mains to turn it off there. I couldn't find it. Now really panicking, I took over the pot filling duty, and my brother went running off to look for Dad as quick as he could. Dad came running in with my brother while we were shouting at him about looking for the mains. Dad just came over to the sink and pulled the plug out of the hole, letting all the water down the drain. Ha ha. I've told this story before, but I like telling it because fuck Tammy. I had a boss named Tammy. One night, we were all working late doing stocktake, and we were discussing the impending lunar eclipse. Someone asked what happens during an eclipse. Tammy grandly explained that the eclipse would occur when America went in front of the moon, blocking our Australia's view of it. Like she literally thought the Earth stretched itself into like a U-bend or neck pillow shape, and half of it stayed in our normal orbit, and the other half stretched itself over and around to casually block the moon for the rest of the Earth. My roommate for the last 3 years once said that if solar technology keeps advancing at the rate it is, we will absorb all the energy made by the sun and fix global warming. Not 5 minutes later, after attempting to inform this poor fellow about how the sun's energy output is not determined by what the energy eventually interacts with, he states that wind farms are worse because they cause tropical storms. I hope he is just an epic troll. I don't know. Had a guy in a third-year undergrad developmental psych course raise his hand in a full lecture hall and ask the professor, "Prof, do infants diagnosed with SIDS get asthma later in life? Like, are they more likely to get asthma?" SIDS stands for Sudden Infant Death Syndrome. He just kept pursuing the question. The prof didn't understand how she could answer it. She thought there was some kind of logic in it that she wasn't seeing. Finally, some girl took the initiative to shout across the room, "No, they are not more likely to get asthma. They are dead. They have died suddenly and will thus not be at risk of developing asthma." Great day. He always sat in front of me, and I would see him writing just absolutely horrible poetry and song lyrics. I am half Korean going to high school in the Midwest during the 1992 LA riots. My typing teacher pulled me into the hallway and asked if I had an uncle or something I can call in LA to make the riots stop. She said she knew that we are all close and we all have stores and whatnot, therefore I must have a connection there. I was like, "Lady, even if I did have an uncle I could call, do you think he is Batman?" Our biggest argument was over whether the correct phrase is egg yolk or egg oak. My high school classmate, whose name is Nick, we were in chemistry doing a lab practical, which required the use of a bulb pipette, a glass pipette with a removable bulb that you squeeze. Nick didn't know how to use the pipette, so he put it to his mouth to suck up sulfuric acid. It got about 3/4 of the way up before our teacher screamed, "Nick, stop that right now." When I was in the Navy, there was a cook on my ship. He once served rare chicken. I genuinely couldn't tell whether he was trying to cover up his limitless incompetence or if he genuinely believed that rare poultry is a real thing. He was dumb enough to believe it. Another time, he just filled a pan with ground beef and called it meatloaf. Another time, he was supposed to make sugar cookies, several hundred of them for the whole crew. He didn't bother to read the label on the container he opened, and apparently he didn't taste the batter at any point, and he actually made salt cookies. He used up all the remaining salt in the pantry, and we had unseasoned food for the remaining several weeks of the mission, during which time the captain assigned someone to be the cook's bodyguard. Edits, I was not aware that chicken sashimi is a thing. Still, intentionally uncooked meat and unintentionally partially cooked meat are very different. This was the latter. You can't make salt from seawater for several reasons. 1, there are no facilities to do it on board. 2, no captain would jeopardize the success of a military mission by unnecessarily feeding the crew food of unknown cleanliness. You couldn't just assign someone else to cook. I didn't specify, but this was on a submarine. There are no spare people to reassign, and cook is already the easiest, least able to cause disaster job on the ship. A girl my dad dated for a while. Even while dating her, my dad would say she was dumber than a bag of rocks. One day, she sat down to watch a movie with my dad. Movie was all about this guy and his twin brother. She sits and watches the whole thing. No interruptions. At the end, she turns and asks, "So there were two of him?" Would explain why she always had the TV turned to a music channel. Apparently, she couldn't follow normal TV or movies. There was a troubled kid I went to high school with. He struggled with school but had friends, but was starting to do drugs and go down a bad way. He decided to photocopy the front and back side of a $20 bill, cut it out of normal paper, and glue the two halves with Elmer's glue. What's even more sad is that to test his new money, he went to the gas station and bought some gum, and it actually worked. So in his mind, it must have meant that it was foolproof. So he then tried to go and deposit the glued up money at an actual bank. He was obviously found out and arrested. I don't know where he is now, but I'm assuming he is making similar life choices. I had a manager named Roxanne, Rocky. She was a bleached blonde, literally bleached her hair once a month, and then wondered why it fell out. Bubblehead, who only had the job because Daddy owned the restaurant. Rocky was really obsessed with her looks and not much else. One day she told me, and a coworker, that she had her nose job done so that her eventual children wouldn't grow up with the same nose as her. She wasn't kidding. The coworker and I just looked at each other and walked away. We knew it wasn't worth the effort. My mom's cousin was the getaway driver when his friends held up a 7-Eleven. He had some outstanding tickets at the time. As he was driving his moron friends home, he sped past a cop who inevitably pulled him over. He defended his bad driving by telling the cop he was just the getaway driver. Then he got arrested. He has since been arrested for a series of other similarly stupid crimes. He also believes that there's a global cabal of Jews who are out to get him. Recently, he got a DUI, which got his license revoked. This was obviously because of the Jews and not because he decided to drive drunk past a police station. When he was denied a gun license, that was the Jews at work. I have no idea why he thinks a global cabal would be focused on some moron from Saskatchewan. This girl I went to school with thought Earth had 2 moons and adamantly argued with me and a teacher. Edit. I should have included more information, but I am new to this, so I apologize. The girl thought that there were 2 moons of the same size, one on each half of Earth. She thought that the Earth didn't rotate while in orbit. She also thought that since the sun was so big and bright, that it blocked the moon during the day. None of anything she said made sense, and she would not answer any further questions or follow up with any rebuttals. I did not try to make her feel stupid. I don't like doing that to anyone for any reason. And once I saw how set she was on what she believed, I backed off because I'm not one to force any views, beliefs, facts, or opinions on someone. And I never said that I don't give my opinion or view or that I don't present facts. I do. I will always say what I have to say, but after a certain period of time, when a conversation comes to a complete standstill and nothing is getting through to a person, I do choose to walk away, and I do so knowing that I tried my best and nothing I can do will be effective. My friend's sister was 20 and pregnant. She said something about how upset she was her vagina would be ruined. I jokingly said, "Maybe he'll come out of your butt instead." She said, "What do you mean? Can they come out of there too?" I thought she was joking. So I just said, "Duh, it's a 50-50 shot." She thought I was serious and asked her doctor if he could tell if the baby was going to come out of her vagina or ass. Edit. I know technically you can tear from your vagina to your ass in labor, meaning technically since it kind of becomes one hole that the baby would come out of the vag-asshole. But she didn't think this. She thought she would shit the baby out. Edit mum too. Since I've been a few people bring it up, she figured out I was just fucking with her. She told her sister, my friend, what the doctor said, and my friend told her that I was joking. Edit 3. Should also mention there's a 30% chance it may be her first cousin's baby. She told me they only made out, but her friend let it slip that they'd been banging. Thank you for listening. Please like and share the video with a friend. I am planning on making more content like this. In the comments, what are some stupid things that you've witnessed and how did you respond to it?